Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and this is week 40 of my doing 100 weeks of YouTube videos and focusing on living a healthier and happier life. So, yay for week 40. I realize I just have not been very good at doing these weekly videos, and I should be much further along, maybe even done from when I started them, which is a little bit disappointing. But here I am. I'm at week 40, nonetheless, 60 weeks to go. That's over a year, because it's only 52 weeks in a year, assuming I actually do these every week. So I have just been in kind of a funk and been depressed and dealing with health issues, and I have not been journaling, which is a horrible thing because journaling just helps me to process everything and helps me to just overall feel better. And I have not been making videos, which also kind of does the same similar thing, but not quite as much as journaling because I can put a lot more personal things into my journal and vent a lot more things in my journal, which I do not put in my videos. So I'm going to try to go through my weekly things, and it's probably going to be for the last couple of weeks because I don't remember everything, but going to kind of start with social. And I know all of these sort of overlap, so I will probably overlap some things anyway. But socially, I have been going to the temple, I have been going to church, and I have met with someone in my neighborhood that I have been going walking with, which is really awesome. So I got to do a little socializing there. So there is that. I've also started a self-reliance finance class, so learning about how to manage my finances, which is good. So that kind of also falls into other categories, but it is also socializing because there are other people in the group that I have to go around and be at. And this past weekend, I went to the ANWA writing conference. So the American Night Writers Association is what that stands for, ANWA. Anyway, so I went to that, and that was fantastic. And I got to do a whole lot of socializing there because in between every class, I was hanging out with all of my friends from my writing group. So I kind of think we sort of formed our own little clique doing that. I mean, some of them went off with other friends and other people because they know everybody. But the last time I went to one of those, I don't even remember when that was probably in 2015. So that was like, what is that, 8 years ago? Yeesh. It was 8 years since the last time I went to one. So they told me that I was new and I had to wear a little new thing. And I'm like, okay, it hasn't changed that much in 8 years. It's still the same basic concept. So I'm not really new. And I've been in Anima this entire time. Actually, I didn't, for a couple of years, I didn't do it actually. And then I joined up again and started in a different group, which is much better than the one I had before. Just the way they did everything was better, and more people sharing and more people actually writing books instead of just writing random stuff. Not that the stuff the other people did was bad. This group is more helpful. It's a better fit for me. Let's just say that. Anyway, so I am grateful for my analog group that helps me to do all of my writing. And like I said, I did see some other people there that I know that I was surprised to see. And I did have to miss my shift at the temple on Saturday, which was kind of a bummer, but I did get to do all of the stuff at the writing conference, which was lots of fun. And I got to hang out with everybody like in between and take some pictures with everybody and won a book. I don't have it with me, so I can't show it to you. It's a kid's book. It's cute. But I won a book. Plus, I got like a whole bag and a whole bunch of other stuff while I was there. Plus, lots of notes and learning on writing. So, very educational. So, that's also a mental exercise, a lot of mental, kind of draining, actually. Like, in some ways, it was uplifting. In some ways, it was just like way too much information. So, mentally, that was kind of a really good mental exercise for me. And it was just kind of nice. Plus, I had this last week off of work. So, I didn't go to work and I wasn't socializing with people at work. I just kind of got to do my own thing. And I'm going to jump kind of into health because I did go to a couple of doctor's visits this week and ended up spending money that I didn't really have. I know that goes into finances, but to do more testing to try to figure out what's going on with me. So that's not fun. There it was. I did that anyway because I'm trying to take care of myself and I'm trying to figure out how to get healthier and to be healthier. And I did connect with another one of my friends. I actually went and visited my aunt this week. That kind of falls under social. Like I said, I'm bouncing all over the place. So I apologize. I did go visit my aunt this week, gave her a copy of my book, and talked to my friend that I still have a copy of a book for her. But we just talked on the phone for like an hour. It was fantastic. So I did a lot of socializing this week, which I haven't done a lot of in a long time. So that was really nice. Probably very much so needed. Plus, I also just didn't have to go to work all week, so it was kind of nice to just get to sleep in a little bit. Except that the writing conference was at 8:30 in the morning on Friday and 9 o'clock on Saturday, so I still had to get up early, just not as early as I would have had to get up for work. So that was nice too. So And like I said, physically, I've been exercising. I've been walking with one of my neighbors. I was walking to my finance class, and she saw me and said, "Hey, we're both single. We're both in the same ward for church. We're both, live like just down the street from each other. Let's start walking together." Because like I need to start walking, and I'm like I need to be walking and exercising too because I'm not getting up in the morning and exercising. So we've started just walking at night around the neighborhood. And thankfully, it's cool enough to do that right now. But I'm sure come summer next year, it won't be. And I don't know what we're going to do then. But it's just nice to have a walking buddy, somebody to be accountable to, because when I'm accountable to people, I'm better at actually following through and doing things. So I'm excited about that. So, and of course, I did eat some junk food. I bought some stuff, but for the most part, I still just eat really healthy as far as like food goes. And I've cut out oatmeal and oat flour for right now because I don't know if that's upsetting my stomach or if my stomach just needs a break from that. So I've been doing like cornmeal mush and other things. And I bought some rye flour at the store the last time I went. I haven't tried it. I haven't made anything with it, but I'm going to try it because I figure what the heck. I kind of like rye bread. It's not my favorite, but I can try it. And it's, anything, just trying to give my body a change, trying to figure out if I can put something different in it so it won't keep getting upset with me and everything that I eat. Still have no idea what it is that it doesn't like that I'm eating, or if it's just freaking out for no reason and just needs to stop freaking out and then I can eat food again. I don't know. So we'll figure this out at some point. See how many different doctors I can go see and how much money I can spend that I don't have to figure out what's wrong with me. So emotionally, I have not been very good at making videos or journaling or even facing my emotions. So let's be honest, I've just been completely avoiding that entirely. So that's not a good one. I need to work on that. I would feel a whole lot better if I would actually face and deal with my emotions, and maybe not facing and dealing with my emotions is part of the struggle with my stomach. And I think a lot of the emotions I've been avoiding is just the excitement about my book and the nervousness about my book being out, because I just don't know how to deal with all of this new information and excitement and nervousness and wanting reviews on my books and wanting to know what people's responses are and not wanting to know people's responses. And Dad Shoemaker keeps asking me how many books I've sold. And I'm like, I have no idea how many books that I've sold. And I'm pretty sure at this point, the only people that have bought my books are people that know me and not anybody else. Nobody else is like seeing my books, reading my books, or even interested in my books. So I have absolutely no idea at this point. So, and that's okay. Really, it's okay. This is like, I was telling someone tonight that it's my this is my practice book. This is my learning book. I went to the writing conference and I sold all of 3 books, and they were to 3 people that I actually knew when they were all from my writing group. And I was a little bit disappointed in that because I brought a lot of books. But on the flip side, my parents, Mom and Dad Shoemaker, that I didn't think were going to like the book because it's not a genre they normally read, and they let me know that, actually read my book. And Dad Shoemaker just can't stop talking about how much he liked it and how much he can picture what's going to happen in the future with this character and all of these things. And I was like, not planning on writing any of those things, but I'm so glad you like the character. And then Mom Shoemaker was like, I'm so glad I could say something nice about your book because I didn't think I was going to like it. And I was like, thanks, I think, because it's just not a genre that she likes to read. So she was happily surprised that it was actually really good. And they both want to know when the next book is coming out. I think Dad Shoemaker more so than Mom Shoemaker. But I was just like, okay. So I told them I'm working on it, and I am 12 chapters into it, but I've been 12 chapters into it for over a month, and I just haven't written it down. And I've gotten all these new ideas and stuff to do, and I just haven't written it down. So not actually working on it. But anyway, those are more other ideas. But it's nice to know that they liked my book, and I liked it enough that they wanted to buy copies to give to people for Christmas. So I was like, oh, that's so fun. So I got to sell a bunch of books that I bought for the bookstore to Mom and Dad Shoemaker instead of selling them at the bookstore. But I'm also very grateful, and I feel like maybe this is an emotional thing, maybe it's a spiritual thing, but that I came home from the conference, and even though I was disappointed I didn't sell a whole lot of books, I'm very grateful that God reminded me that this is just a learning experience. This is a learning process. This is my first book. This is not the main story to my book. This is like an introduction book. And I think it's a very good introduction book, and you have to have a good introduction book or a good introduction, beginning of a story, whatever, in order for people to want to continue to read it. So it is a good book. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying it's an introduction book. It's an introduction to my world. It's an introduction to the characters. It's an introduction to all the different powers and things like that that happen in the kingdom. It's an introduction to the structure of things, just a little bit of the structure of things. I could go more in depth, but the next book is going to do a lot of that. And then the books after that are going to do a whole lot more than that. And then it will set everything up for the future story that I'm actually wanting to tell. And so I have all of these ideas in my head. But I did have someone tell me tonight that they were like, they like it when, because a lot of writers just jump in the middle and they don't tell you what's going on. And then they'll write the prequel series afterwards, because the prequel series people just aren't as interested in unless they've read the whole series. So I'm actually writing the prequel series first, which is what I was telling her. I'm like, this is actually the prequel series. This is the setting up the kingdom. This is the setting up my world. This is the how everything gets started in the first place. And then I'm going to jump to where the main story happens and then go forward from there. So we were just having a conversation about that tonight. And it was nice to know that she liked that concept and idea. So, like I said, this is an introduction story. It's just an introduction to my world, to my kingdom, to everything. It's a good story. I think it's a good story. But it's not my main story. It's not the one that I'm overly attached to. It's not the one that I'm super emotional and like freaked out about sharing. So I'm just really grateful for the reminder to me that God was just giving me this lovely little reminder that this is my learning book. This is the book that I learned how to write to readers on. This is the book that I have learned the process of getting it sent to beta readers and rewriting and how long it takes to do that, and the parts that are tedious and the parts that are fun. And this is my learning process as to how to get a book published. And thankfully I had a publisher to help me with that. But I'm still kind of like a hybrid and not really, and more like an indie author than a, published author, because really my publisher, other than she edited it multiple times so I didn't have to pay for that, and she did all the formatting, I still chose the book cover. I still chose everything except for the blurb on the back of the book. And I wished I had discussed that with her, but I did not. So future books, if I let her do that, I will discuss the blurb, because I didn't really like the blurb. But that's okay. If other people like the blurb and it works, that's fantastic. But that's about the only thing in the whole book that I did not have a say on, was the blurb, because I just didn't want to pay for a proof copy to look at it and be like, oh, I love this. And I'm like, oh, I don't like that at all. So I just didn't do that, because then there was all those changes and it would have taken longer to get the book out and yada, 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 all the pushing things out. And I was just like, no, I'm just going to be done and let it go, because I don't want to keep looking at it. I'm so done with the book. And I think part of me is also afraid that I will be so done with my other books when I publish them that I won't continue to replay those stories in my head. But then I realized I'm not really replaying those stories in my head anymore anyway. I've moved on to new stories. So that's probably a good thing. And so this is just a good way for me to learn and to know that I could do things a little bit differently, and what I could do differently at the writing conference and the bookstore. And I'm also learning how to market this book, and learning that it helps to have several books out. And sometimes it's not the first book that people notice. It'll be the second or third or fourth book before people start noticing my books and my writing. Plus, it's all going to take time to go mostly word of mouth, and everything really does go word of mouth. So if people read it and they like it and they share about it, then they will share it with other people and it will continue to spread, but it will go slowly. And so it could take 3 to 10 years or more before my books are well known. And if they like the first book, when I get the second book out, it's also going to depend on how long it takes me to get the next book out, because if I can pump out books, I can pump out stories in my brain. I just don't know if I can pump them out as far as getting myself to write them. But if I can pump out the books, then that would be more exciting to the readers, and then I could sell more books because they would come out more frequently. But right now I haven't pumped out. I haven't written any other books. I've focused mostly on this one to get it done, and I still got 5 other books. And now I have, thanks to Dad Shoemaker, I have a whole nother book idea, which I wasn't planning on, because of course I went to dinner tonight and he's telling me how he can picture my character when she's older. And I was like, that's nice. I can't picture her older. I didn't picture her older. I mean, I pictured her all grown up, and she's in the next book, and we're just jumping from there to there. And he put her in the middle somewhere. And I was like, she's not in the middle. And of course he didn't tell me what he pictured or anything else like that. He wasn't telling me what he was imagining that she was doing. None of those things. And then I'm driving home and my brain is bored with all the stories that I have in it, apparently. So it decided to come up with a whole new story as to this main character of Lanoya and what she's going to do when she's in her teenage years instead of fully grown up in the next book. And I was like, crap. I wasn't planning on writing that book. I'm still debating whether or not I will write that book. But now I have a story idea for her teenage years. I'm not really sure what to do with that. I don't even know where that story is going to go or how that story is going to pan out or what it's going to do because I wasn't planning on writing that one. But then again, I wasn't planning on writing The Noya and the Teachers of Powers. And I'm kind of disappointed. I'm like, at this rate, I'm going to keep writing all these stories I was never planning to write. And I'm never going to write the stories I was planning on, which is a little bit disappointing. So I've got to find a balance on that. So that is kind of all falls under a little bit emotional, a little bit spiritual, and probably a lot of like mental, maybe social. Like I said, all this stuff just kind of overlaps, really muchly so. So spiritually, I have been going to the temple for as an ordinance worker. I really need to go as a patron. I have been going to church, which is a good thing. I have been reading my scriptures and meditationals every morning, and that is fantastic. I have not always prayed and done my writing in the mornings, and I have not been journaling, which are things I really need to do spiritually. That would definitely help me. I think I talked about physically what I'm doing. Mentally, like I said, I went to the writing conference. I learned a whole bunch of information about that. I've got a new idea for a whole other story I wasn't planning on writing. And I mostly just took a break this week because I didn't have to go to work. So I just shut down and did absolutely nothing. And I wish I had a whole nother week to do that, but I don't. I have to go back to reality tomorrow. So finances, like I did mention, I am taking a self-reliance finance class that my church offers. And it's just talking about my finances. So I am grateful to be learning about my finances and learning about budgets and everything else like that. And we just did a budget this last week. And I haven't sat down and done my actual budget. What we just kind of, what it was is this is your income and these are your expenses. And I haven't sat down and done that with my actual numbers, but rounding up or rounding off to just the basics of what I could remember. I'm literally based on how much money I make per month and how much I owe per month. I am literally overdrawn $60 per month. And that doesn't leave me any money for all of the medical expenses that I'm having and the medical bills that I'm having or anything else that I'm having. But I have still been able to pay all of my bills, and I do have bills like medical bills that I have not paid, but all of my regular bills I have been able to pay. And I'm pretty sure I can make payment arrangements on all of my medical bills. And God has been inspiring me in ways in how I can do that and how much I can afford to do that. And I don't even feel like I can afford to do it from the looks of this budget. But I know that every month I've been able to pay my bills, even though looking at it said I was $60 overdrawn. And maybe I just need to actually look at the actual numbers and I will probably just come up with zero somehow. And yet I still have some money, not a lot of money, but I have some money. I have like $10 in my savings account or something. And I think 30, I have about $30 between my two savings accounts. So I was just like, okay. And I am just very, very grateful for the knowledge that God is taking care of me and looking out for me and helping me with my finances and making it possible for me to just have just enough money to pay all of these bills. And I don't even know how it's happening. I don't know how it works. So that's one of those spiritual things, having that faith and trust in God and knowing that I am doing the best that I can with my finances, and also kind of to the realization that I do not make enough money for the amount of debt that I currently have in order to and for the amount of medical bills that I am accruing right now. And I do not have the best insurance in order to do that because my deductible is ridiculously high. And I will probably not even meet my deductible before the year is up. And I will still have to start over and be paying all of these things. And I cannot afford to do that. So I am probably going to start looking for another job, not because I dislike the job that I have, but because I just can't afford to live on the amount of money that I'm making at this job. And I don't like disappointing people. I don't like leaving jobs. I mean, I leave jobs, but I usually stay for like 4 to 5 years before I find another job. And I'm usually totally burned out on the job before I leave and go somewhere else. And I'm not totally burned out on this job, and I don't dislike the people that I work with. I'm not hating the job to the point where I'm like, I have to find something else. I'm not bored with the job. There's all of those things that usually motivate me to change positions, but it's my financial situation. And I am learning in taking this class and just in doing all of these videos and things about myself and working on myself, that I am worth more, that I deserve more, and that it would be really nice to not be stressed and living paycheck to paycheck all the time. It would really be nice to have a little bit of a cushion. And yes, at some point it would be nice if I could make that money off of my books and have that cushion off of my books, but it would be so much nicer if I actually make enough money that I can buy food every month, that I can put a full tank of gas in my car, which I can't do that right now. I literally, I'm like, I'm spending $120 a month on groceries, and I'm trying to cut it back to about $80 a month so that I can use that extra $40 to put towards payment arrangements with medical bills so that I can be at least making payments on things. And I'm afraid to file my taxes for the years I haven't paid for them because I don't have the money to pay to file my taxes, plus all of the fees and everything else that have accrued, which is not good because they're still accruing those, plus the fact that I would then have to add additional payments, and I have no additional money to make payments with. So I'm like, I can file them. And then I'll be like, okay, see, now I filed my taxes, but I can't pay you because I have no money. So I really need to get a job where I can make enough money to make all of those payments and still have enough money to put a full tank of gas in my car. So I'm not stressing about how I'm going to get places or hoping that my half a tank is going to last me for 2 weeks because the gas prices keep going up. And I'm like, they keep going up and I can't spend any more money. So I am stuck with this amount of money. This is all I can pay per gas, which means the amount that my tank gets filled up is less and less. And at some point, I'm not going to be able to have enough gas in my car for 2 weeks to go to and from work until I get paid again because I don't have the money. And I can't pay for alternate transportation either because I don't have the money. So even living within what I make, within my means, my debt to income ratio is just too high. And I know those are things that I've done to myself. And I know I was okay, sort of okay where I was at. And I had a little bit of extra money because I got some extra bonuses and things, which was really nice. And that was going to get me through the summer. And then I had all these medical things hit that I was not anticipating. And I have had to pay a lot of bills because of that. And I, instead of setting money aside for savings or buying food and gas and the necessities, I am paying for medical things. And so now I'm paying bills late because I literally am paying bills late, and I have called and skipped payments with credit card companies and other such things because I just don't have the money because I have to pay for the medical stuff. So I'm just like, ah, stressed and overwhelmed. And I did get some money back from a procedure that I did, and Mom and Dad Shoemaker gave me some money for that, which was nice of them. And then I had to give it back to them. I mean, I didn't have to, but it was the honest thing to do. I chose to give it back to them, and I was hoping they'd let me keep it, but they're like, oh no, we want our money back. And I was like, great. So I gave it back to them because I could use that money for so many other things, but I would feel guilty if I kept it without permission because that's just, the honest thing to do is to give it back because the insurance company gave it back because the insurance company actually paid for something, which was fantastic. So again, God is blessing me in so many ways that I am not even aware of. And I am getting random money from things like the insurance company sending me back or my books that sold. And I didn't sell them at the bookstore, but then Mom and Dad bought some off of me. So now I have that money, and I should be keeping my business money separate from my personal money. And I'm going to try to figure out how to do that. But at the same time, I could totally use that money to pay for some personal things and some personal bills. And I am super grateful for that little extra income. And it's not a lot. It really isn't because I don't make a lot of money off of my book. And like I said, there's not a lot of people buying my books. But I am grateful that God is taking care of me and my finances and my situation and showing me that maybe through this class and looking at my finances, that it doesn't matter how much I look at them, I can spend the next 2 to 3 years, literally maybe even 5 years, living paycheck to paycheck and just taking, and then once something is paid off, I can either continue to try to pay that extra money on something else, or I can just let it go towards the necessities that I need, like gas and food and clothes that I can't afford, until I can pay things off. And so it's just going to take a lot longer, and I will just continue to be stressed. And I don't need to continue to be stressed. So I do need to find another job. And as much as I would love to make money off of YouTube and off of my writing and all of those things, so I could just stay at home and not have to do that, like this past week was fantastic. I would love to live my life that way, but I cannot afford to do that. So I will have to move forward onto something else. And I don't know how long that's going to take. And I don't know how much time and effort or energy I'm going to have to put into that. But I'm kind of feeling like that's the direction that I need to go, which is kind of scary for me because I do like learning new things, but I just, like I said, I don't like disappointing the people that I'm working with. I don't like feeling like I'm just leaving them high and dry. And I know busy season is coming up and holiday seasons are coming. And I know I'll get a Christmas bonus, but that's still like 2-3 months away. And I just can't afford to wait for that. And I really hate for that Christmas bonus just to go towards paying bills and playing catch up with my finances and still not having any money to put towards Christmas and not having any money to buy things for myself that I need. It's just literally staying afloat financially. And I'm not even spending money going out to eat. I'm not spending money. I'm not even, there's literally nothing. Like, it's like, look at all the way you're spending money and see where you can cut back. And I'm looking at everything I'm spending money on, and I'm like, there is nothing I can cut back on. I have cut back as far as I can, and there is nowhere else to cut back. And I still am overdrawn every month by $60. Maybe it's not quite that bad. Like I said, I haven't looked at the actual numbers, and my paycheck is a little bit different every 2 weeks, depending on whether or not I get overtime or bonuses, which I haven't had bonuses in a while. And usually they're only like $50 to $100. They're not like huge bonuses that are just like in there and they just sort of disappear with the rest of the money. And my overtime isn't a lot. It's only like 1 to 2 hours, but like that extra $30 to $40 a paycheck or $50 a paycheck, whatever, makes a huge difference in the month. That's like an extra $100 a month that I can put towards something. But if I don't make that every paycheck or every month, then there's something that doesn't get paid. So that's kind of where my struggle is at. So I think that's everything. Those are my finances mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, socially. We went over everything, and I'm just rambling. So thank you for listening to me and letting me ramble. And like I said, I am just trying to find ways to live healthier and happier and trying to figure out how to have a more balanced life. And I don't do a very good job at that, and change is very hard, which is probably why I go weeks without making videos. I did forget on the physical side that I have been losing some weight. The last time I weighed myself, I think I'm 119.8. So I've actually under 220, not 119, sorry, I'm 219.8. So I'm actually under 220. If I was 119.8, I would be way too skinny, and that would be scary on the flip side of things. However, as much as I'm excited about losing that weight, I don't know if I've just lost 5 pounds from walking for a week and a half with my friend, or if if it's because I'm not eating food because I'm just having stomach issues, or if I don't know what it is, because I don't feel like I've made a whole lot of changes, and I've kind of stagnated, sitting somewhere between like 225 and 230, like just been sitting there for like several months, not being able to get under 230. And now all of a sudden I'm under 220. So I have probably lost like 10 pounds this summer. And I would love to say that's a fantastic thing, but I haven't done anything different other than it's just summer. And maybe I'm eating a little bit less, and that's probably because my stomach hurts and I just don't like to eat food. So, but I haven't done a whole lot more exercising. I haven't done a whole lot of other things. And I don't know if it's just because my body is like, it had to level out where it was at as far as like food eating metabolism. Because I've heard it does that, where it's like you lose so much weight and then your body just kind of levels out and you don't lose weight for a while while it adjusts to where you're at, and then you start losing weight again. So maybe I'm just losing the weight because of my change in my diet like I was doing before, and that's a fantastic thing. But there's that little part in the back of my brain that's worried that I'm losing the weight because there might be some other physical things going on. That's not a good way to lose weight. So I'm hoping it's a healthy weight that I'm losing, because I know I need to lose the weight. I do need to lose the weight and I don't want to gain it back, but I'm hoping to do it in a healthy way and not an unhealthy way. So I'm hoping this is a healthy way, but I have noticed that I have lost quite a bit of weight recently, and I'm excited because, like I said, it's just under 220 and everything's getting too loose on me, which is nice, but I don't feel like I've made enough changes for it to lose. Like, this entire process I've been losing weight, it has taken me like 5 pounds a month if I'm lucky. So I feel like I've lost over 5 pounds this month, and the month isn't even over yet. So I'm a little bit concerned because I've literally lost like 2 pounds a week for the past 2 weeks. So I've literally lost 6 pounds in the last 2 weeks. And that's what concerns me just a little bit, because this whole process, I've been lucky to lose like 1 pound a week. And then the only time I do lose a little extra weight is at the end of my monthly cycle. Because I usually get a little bit bloated and then I'll lose that weight, and I haven't been getting it back, which is nice. But I usually gain like at least a pound like right before, and then I'll lose like 2 or 3 at the end of it, because yeah. So that's when I lose my weight, and it's usually that's how much weight I lose for the entire month, and it just pretty much stays there. So like I said, I'm like about maybe 5 pounds, maybe less than that per month, maybe 4 pounds that I've been losing, like 1 or 2 the rest of the time. So to lose like 6 pounds in a month is really fantastic, but at the same time, it's a little bit scary because I haven't lost weight that quickly in the last year and a half since I started working on losing my weight. on losing weight and focusing on being healthy. So that might be something I need to talk to my doctor about if it continues, because that's not been normal for me. And like I said, I didn't do anything drastic to change in this past month as far as what I'm doing, other than I've gone walking for like a week and a half. It's only been like we started we started on a Wednesday. No, we started on a Friday. We did one Friday, and then so I've gone walking 4 times because we're just doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I went Friday, and then I went Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I've gone walking like 4 times in the past week and a half. And I mean, granted, we walked for like 20, 30 minutes, and I think she clocked it or like tracked the foot count or something, and it's about 3 miles that we walk, which isn't, I mean, it's not bad, it's not a lot, but I'm like, literally, we spend like half an hour, 40 minutes just walking, which is nice. But again, it's not speed racing. We're having a conversation. I mean, we're not like going slow and leisurely, but we're not like racing either. And so I just don't feel like that's enough to warrant. Plus, usually when you start exercising, you gain muscle first. So you kind of, your weight stabilizes or you gain a little bit of weight because you're gaining muscle, and muscle weighs more than fat. And then you start to lose the fat after that. So again, not really sure what's going on with my health issues. Trying not to, my brain overthinks everything. So I apologize. I thought I was ending this video, and then I'm going off on a tangent about something else. So yes, I am excited to be under 220 pounds. I'm just hoping it's a healthy under 220 pounds. That's all I'm saying. And not because I'm not eating, or not because there's something else physically going on with me. Maybe my body's just finally decided to be like, okay, we're going to let go of all of this weight we've been holding on to for all of these years, and we're going to go back to being skinny, which is how I've always been. So it's been weird to me to be overweight for the last several years, because I grew up always being skinny and never thought I would be over 200 pounds in my life. And that never even happened until after my divorce. And I was literally 38 when I got over 200 pounds, and I'd never been that heavy in my life. And then got all the way up to like 270, which is crazy. So to be back down to 219 is nice, but I'm like, I want to get under 200. I just don't like being this. It's just weird because my brain still sees myself as skinny, and being able to do things when I was skinny, and having the energy I had when I was skinny. And not that I had a lot of energy, I've always been tired a lot. But just really interesting that that's what's going on right now. So anyway, that's just kind of where I'm at. Grateful to be losing some weight, but a little bit worried about where my health is going, and trying my best to figure out how to pay for all of the tests and things to figure out what's going on with me, and trying my best to still continue to take care of myself and still continue to work. And at this point, feeling like I'm going to need to find a new job. So any suggestions, I'm all for that as well. So anyway, that's where I'm at. Thank you for watching these videos. If you like them, you can hit like, subscribe, share with someone else if you think they'll like it too. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude, and maybe find ways to live a happier, healthy lifestyle too.